Hi guys, so I was going to wait before I started using the Esoteric Buddhism of Japan Oracle cards. It's a long title, but it's a good deck. Just because I wanted to get deeper into it and understand it a little bit more. But it has simple explanations. And I think that's important that I, maybe start using it because it's really good. And so we have number 16, which is Kangu-Sata, which is kind of like the Japanese version of Vajra-Satya. Now, I'm probably butchering this, and I apologize. It's just my lack of being able to do that. And then when you look in this book, they have a mantra underneath the name, and this is Om Vajra-Satya Ah. So I'm not going to try and do that beautifully because I can't. But and it says it is an important batsu symbolizing humanity's quest for enlightenment. And then they want you to focus on the Vajra and the Vajra bell, which you can kind of see in these cards. Are so freaking beautiful. There's always little hints as to what they're talking about. And some of the inscription says you were born ready. Treasure each and every step because you were born ready and the courage to move forward and new meetings. So this is kind of I give this big support on your journey type of feeling with this card. And it says the wisdom from Buddha. It says the beautiful golden lotus flower is a symbol of your heart. Every time you decide to become a better person, when you do something for others, the lotus in your heart blooms, sending golden waves into the world, which will lead you to even more connections and meetings. What you need most right now is to trust yourself as you walk your path. Even if others might walk ahead of you, don't pay them any mind. Keep moving forward at your own pace. Just keep walking. That's what matters. You've only just started on your way. And I feel like a lot of us feel like we've been on our way, but it's a never-ending journey. And I feel like if you resonated with my last message yesterday, I feel like there's this just kind of the new leg of the journey. I feel like it's a new, deeper understanding of the journey. And it gives you a little deeper understanding of the Kangu-Sata, which it says is the successor to Dainichi Nyorai, which I believe, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like the all kind of energy, the originator of where this energy is kind of like the universe type of energy, the one that all of these manifestations and I'm probably butchering that too, but I think that's the first card in this deck too, but it's basically that process. And it says Kangu is a Japanese word for Vajra, the holy item and ancient Indian weapon that he holds in his right hand, and in his left hand is the Vajra bell, which sounds a beautiful and melodious ring. Sata means fearless and courageous, and is said that Sata awakens humanity's desire to reach enlightenment. With each step that Kangu-Sata takes, a glorious lotus flower blooms. When he rings the Vajra bell, it sounds far and wide, rescuing humanity from darkness and confusion. And in this reading, I'll tell you why I feel like that's important. And then the blessings for this is wisdom, being granted what you desire. And if you look at my first row, I have the Ten of Pentacles and first column, and the Page of Swords. So to me, the Ten of Pentacles is always kind of like a legacy energy. It's kind of like, how the Ten of Cups is that ultimate good, happy feeling of belonging in the emotional and spiritual aspect. The Ten of Pentacles is that way, but it's also in your tangible self and what we can pass on to others, what we make out of this here and now life that we're in. And then we have the Page of Swords, which the Page of Swords a lot of times, and I like that Aquarius Rising 23 happened to pull. In her deck, it was the Princess of Swords, or sometimes it's also called the Apprentice of Swords. And this is, that youth energy of knowledge and communication and wanting to know more and express it. I deeply feel like this is and I just got chills thinking about that. So with the first card, being about wisdom and kind of waking up humanity, I feel like this is saying that somebody or a collective or us in general is kind of in this energy of that being an importance to you. Having that knowledge and exploration of knowledge, whether it be deeper knowledge or wisdom, but having the ability to express it, and that give and take in talking about it and understanding. And that is literally, like, that is what I live for. So the concept of a legacy of a belief or an understanding or a wisdom is huge in my world. I think that that's a great, awesome thing. And I feel like, just like with the Vajra bell, we're kind of being asked to kind of awaken others in that way. Whether you be somebody who has like something online, or you teach a class, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's art or an expression of words in a book, or you have a podcast, which that's so funny because that's something that was kind of like brought up today and yesterday, and it's weird because that's something that I'm looking into doing. But anyway, and it's so funny because Aquarius Rising 23 kind of reminded me that today too. Anyway, confirmation all over the place today is just nuts. But so like the legacy of a communication of your message, or passing on a wisdom, which wisdom really is just kind of an understanding of communication. It's taking in information and explaining it in a way that other people can hear it, right? Wisdom is understanding things, but also understanding how things affect other people. It's having that bird's eye view. That, in my opinion, it's that Ace of Pentacles understanding of life. So let's go to the second column, and then we have the Nine of Wands and we have the Ten of Pentacles again. I think that is reaffirming exactly what I'm trying to say. And then we have 10-10 here, so that's important too. I have a lot of repeating numbers. I have sevens, because if you take that 16, that's a 7. And then the many past down there is 34, but if you put that together, that's also 7. So I have 10s, I have 7s, and I also have 9s. So maybe that means something to somebody. But anyway, so with the 9 of Wands being in the column of what we need to focus on, especially with the 10 of Pentacles, I feel like, because with me, a lot of times the 7 of Wands and the 9 of Wands feel to me like almost like a spiritual protection, but in a way that you know your truth, right? This is definitely like you know your truth. And a lot of times the 9s means that you're at that point, you're almost to the 10. So you're at that point where you've gained whatever that is. And this being spiritual, I feel like this is like, you're resilient, you're understanding what this is about for you. And then I feel like, especially being with the 10 of Pentacles, that is your legacy. Your legacy is to tell others or to express others whatever your truth is. It doesn't have to be like a school of thought. It doesn't have to be like a deep expression of something. It could be your expression of music, what that means to you. That could be your expression of art. This can be how you do some type of skill really good. Maybe you do some type of manual labor, but you really enjoy it, so it means something deeper to you, right? Whatever your truth is, I feel like this is saying this is your legacy. This is what's going to give you that fulfillment, that 10 of Pentacles feeling for you. And if you have a family, I feel like for me, a big part of my legacy, the thing that I want to pass on, is allowing my children to understand these things now, so that way they could only progress more and deeper into themselves when they become my age, and not have to be late in their, I guess I'm not late in my 40s, I'm in my mid-40s, to discover who they are, right? To shed all that crap that we kind of put in the way to hide ourselves from ourselves for protection. And then our third column, we have the 6 of Cups and we have the 2 of Cups. So this can definitely be like a connection to something of the past. So if this type of legacy feels like something that is in coming to you from your ancestors, that's a big thing too. I also feel like this could be something that maybe there are lessons that you've learned from the past, emotional lessons, and you being able to connect that in a more meaningful way. This also could be somebody that you have a deep connection with, or a deep connection with a passion or a creative project that has some deep roots into the past, right? It gives you those past feelings of nostalgia. So I feel like as an access and an asset and something that we can use to help us along the way. I'm feeling like we're told to be tapping into that connection to whatever that is that gives us that, childlike wonder and that deep nostalgic feeling, or that memory of fondness. So I hope that helps somebody if I make that right. I don't know. And then we go to our last row. Now we have the Four of Wands, which as a Venus and Aries, that means, am I a third deacon? I think I'm a third deacon. Yeah, that's the third deacon, Aries. Sorry. That to me feels like, every time I get the Four of Wands, I always feel like that's another one of my cards. But if you want to look at it, it's also celebration, but it's like a connection celebration. You have the Four of Wands also represents that 11-11 energy. So it's like the mirroring of connections type of energy. And then we have the Nine of Swords, which, a lot of times we look at that as being a energy of nightmares or things that are like overwhelm our mind. But again, let's think about that. The 9 is almost the end of that. And a lot of times I think of the 10 of Swords as being that understanding of, where you're almost over that. So you're kind of on that threshold to being done with that stress of mental anguish and mental confusion. And I like to always think of the Four of Wands also as being kind of that contentment feeling. Like you're excited about life and you're celebrating, but it's because you're content, right? And then with the Nine of Swords, all those swords, you've kind of been through those different lessons, and you have taken the sword, you've overcome, and you've beaten that battle with that mental battle, right? So, and the 9 being, I've to this point, I feel like it's saying that you're ready to really being able to handle, whatever this is that you're trying to accomplish. And it could be also that, maybe we're kind of being reminded to be, that, you can handle this, you have this, you will be successful. And maybe there's a little bit of trepidation in somebody. So maybe the Nine of Swords is in fact a Nine of Swords. I always like to flavor everything happy with butterflies and rainbows. So, but, the anxiety sometimes can be, just like something that kind of brings up things that maybe we need to work on. So maybe this is something where somebody's like, well, I need to do that, but I don't know if I can do it. And you have the Four of Wands with it. So this is saying, yes, you have the celebration and the push of your loved ones here or in the other realms. You have the support, right? And so then we go into the mystical shaman oracle. And I'm just going to read the invitation because I feel like this is very pertinent to this message. It says, your call now is to take a big, bold step and leave the beaten path. Heaven and earth are conspiring on your behalf to support you in this move. Do not dally, lest you miss the moment. It is time to sail into the uncharted. Be sure you attend to both your path through this earth as well as your journey through the stars. And that signifies to me that, especially like with the 10 of Pentacles being something tangible, this is something that is not only in your material day to day, that this is something that you want to do to enrich yourself in that way. But this is also something that is deeply destined in your soul. This is something that feels like we are supported because this is truly something that's going to give you that cosmic feeling of success, right? This is something that you feel good when you do it. And then underneath there, I have a crystal angel oracle, and we have tiger's eye, and it says self-confidence through God confidence. Believe in yourself by believing in God working through you. So, and you know me, like I don't have one belief in one thing or another, but whatever that means for you, God, spirit, universe, even if you don't believe that there is something like that, whatever that force is that you feel that drives you, that pushes you, that gives you that feeling, you are definitely supported. And have that confidence in believing in that, because I feel like if this is something where you're expressing your truth that is kind of, spiritual or whatever this is meaning, use that as your backup to do it. Your truth that you believe in is supporting you because it is your truth, right? And then we go all the way to the other side and we have Malachite with prosperity. There is a positive shift in your flow of divine support. And doesn't that just tie it all together? So ultimately, I feel like whatever that thing is that you're trying to do it, because you were divinely guided in this. And whatever you believe the divine is, this is something that you're meant to do. And I appreciate all of you, and I hope this meant something for somebody today, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you, and I will talk to you later.